Hello everybody, today we are at Shanghai People's Square talking about whether Shanghai is easy to live in. The one thing about Shanghai is it's all about what you make of it. There's so many different ways that you can live your life over here. So if you want it to be cheap, it can be cheap. If you want it to be expensive and luxurious, it can be expensive and luxurious. If you want to go outdoors every weekend and experience something new, there are ways that you can do that, both cheaply and expensively. The way in which you approach your life over here, there are not many ways that you can't live your life over here comfortably. Food, for example, if you want good Western food, it's not going to be cheap, it's going to be fairly expensive, but if you want it, you can get it over here. If you want cheap food, you just learn to eat Chinese food, and it's actually really accessible and everywhere. Once you get over the fact it's a little bit of a mission to order food at restaurants sometimes, but once you get over the anxiety of actually speaking to people that don't understand you, it's really not that big of a deal. You can get most of your Western alcohol over here, which is actually quite fairly priced. When you go out, it is pretty expensive. Depending on what restaurants you go to, you can get cheap food, you can get expensive food, but summary of the day is for your more common Western food, you are going to pay a little bit more, especially for, beef and stuff like that. Chicken burgers are pretty much the same everywhere you go. If you're living in Shanghai and you want to do lots of things, if you're a person that wants to be inside or outside, there are lots of different activities that you can go for. So on the outside fronts, inside the city, there are not really many things you can do. You can go to the parks, they're usually cheap, they're usually quite nice, like where I am now. If you want to go out and do some exploring and you're a person that needs to be in nature, there are lots of places that offer services where you can actually go out and explore different ancient cities every weekend. Actually relatively cheap for how much money you get paid over here, and they're actually really enjoyable experiences. Also, there are other activities that you can actually practice quite regularly. Chinese people are very into rock climbing over here, so there are lots of places that you can go and do that. And I think I actually saw some people that actually found a dirt bike course that you can go over here, and you can actually go sailing nearby. If you're the kind of person that wants a bit of nightlife, there are many places that you can go drinking at night. Lots of nice clubs, lots of nice bars. There are a lot of very specific bars, so I'll find each country will have its own sort of bar that you'll just find German people at this bar, and you'll just find Italian people at this bar, and you'll just find Brazilian people at this bar. So if you're into your nightlife, it is relatively expensive. According to American prices, pretty much the same. But if you're from the third world, it can get a little bit pricey. Living can be a little bit expensive in Shanghai. The closer you are to the inside of the city, it's quite expensive. So people have shown sharing apartments for between 6,000 to 3,000 RMB. The closer you are to the center, the higher the cost is going to be. If you're further on the outskirts, you obviously pay a little bit less. You'll live in a higher rise building, and you're obviously going to pay for what you get. As far as living, the environment itself is very clean. It's not as clean as Australia, I'd say, or something like that, but pretty much the same as the American standard. Sometimes you have the issue that pollution will blow through from Beijing, but then you just close your windows. It really doesn't have that great of effect on you other than any other big city. As a whole, people over here are a lot cleaner and a lot more well presented. People like to dress very well over here, so you won't find people very messy. They're a little bit more civilized in the manner that Western people would consider people civilized. Clothing's pretty much the same, and you actually feel like you're in a Western country to a large degree. The closer you are to the center, the infrastructure is a lot better, everything's a lot cleaner, everything's a lot better maintained. The whole city's just being ripped up at the moment for the Import-Export Expo, so it's a little bit of a mess at the moment, but I do find that this place is a lot cleaner, it's a lot better maintained, and it just looks and feels a lot better. Now all of these things about Shanghai are really great. There are lots of great places to go, there are lots of great places to eat, and there are also ways that you don't have to go anywhere to eat. But the problem is, how do you get to all of these places and how do you get all of these things? See, I'm probably most experienced in riding e-bikes, which would be my first note of getting around China. E-bikes are possibly the best way to do it if you're in other parts of China. Over here it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to get an e-bike because you need to register it against your name, and it's a bit complicated because all of those places will only speak Chinese. In the long run though, e-bikes are really cheap to run. Once you've paid for it, the rest of it's basically free. For those that are wondering about how to get a car in China, it can be done, it's just very difficult. You can't just get an international license and move to China or Shanghai and just drive around in a car. There are ways to do it, but if you've got a driver's license, you need to write some special conversion test, which is in English and you can study for, but it is very difficult and it's quite a tedious process. And also owning a car over here, like in Shanghai for example, there's a special lottery to get a number plate, which makes things a little less easier. And it's also the factor of where do you put the car, transport, maintaining the thing, petrol. So if you're going to be living here for a long period of time, you may want to go through the stress of actually doing that. But you know, if you're just going to come here and teach English, or you know, the variety of other things that people do over here in and out, a car's really not on the table. My personal favorite being the subway. Now the subway is really epic because it's dirt cheap to get around and it pretty much goes everywhere. But for me, I bought like the electric skateboard that some of you will see in my older videos that I've recently bought. It makes a serious difference and makes the subway pretty much my favorite form of transport, because once you can get anywhere with the subway, it's really convenient and it's really a lot more comfortable than buses and things like that. Like buses you can get around on, but you quite desperately have to have an iPhone if you want to use the bus service over here, because the bus services of China are integrated with Apple Maps, which makes things a lot easier. But if you are here for a short period of time, or even being a tourist in China, I would actually rather just rattle around on the subway than having to go on any special sort of buses or things like that. Now, to answer the question, is Shanghai easy to live in? Now, if you've been in China for a while, Shanghai is definitely easier to live in. It's more accessible, everything works a lot better, but that's not necessarily what you want. That's more of a personal preference. It is an easy place to live in, for me, but you have to listen to what I've said and decide if it's easy enough of a place for you to live in. If you're a foreigner that's, you know, likes your Western things, then Shanghai is going to be the best option for you if you are coming to China. If you're a person that likes adventures and new things and wants to experience and really get involved in a different culture, you may get a little bit bored in China. If you want to come here, live comfortably in another place, and just have a lot of fun, I think this is definitely going to be a really easy place for you to adapt to. So guys, that is the video for today. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below if you enjoyed the video. And guys, remember, if you're stuck in a rut, try something new, fix something old, and change something now. Cheers, bye.